Hi guys, and welcome to a very first chat about wrestling from myself, which is another passion that I enjoy, whether it's going to see British guys wrestling or Lucha or obviously the WWE. I thought I'd just bring this over to the channel with Kapow being everything kind of geeky and what I like. So, last night was Extreme Rules 2016. Live on the WWE network. I checked it out and these are going to be my thoughts and my review, so be careful, there are spoilers, loads of them. So I just wanted to say welcome to Beyond the Bell. I'm Matt and this is what I thought of Extreme Rules. Okay, I'm not going to do the pre-show, even though there was a really good result in there. I didn't actually watch it, so I can't really comment on there. But well done, Baron Corbin. Hopefully you're going to get the push that you deserve, you mean bastard. But let's just start from the beginning of the show. We'll go through. So, who's kicking the pay-per-view off? So, Usos versus Anderson and Gallows, or The Club, if they even call them that at all. They didn't even mention it, I don't think, through this as well. Stipulation was it was a tornado tag match, which is cool. Usos came out first and they got booed. I'm talking really loud boos. Being mentioned as the bloodline. Maybe that's some future angle they're going to experience with Reigns if he ever does drop the title over the next few months. More on that later on. Silly things that happened through this. Obviously Anderson and Gallows got a pretty decent pop, which is cool. People know where they've come from with the Japan Wrestling and even through WWE as well. But a few weird things which happened. One, JBL saying it was a dream match. Right, okay. If that's what you want to say, Jay, you know, if that's your thoughts, JBL, but let's be honest, it wasn't. The name that they've given one of the Anderson and Gallows moves, where the big boot off the shoulder, calling it the Boot of Doom. What? You've called something the Boot of Doom. Sort it out. Call it the Destroyer, I don't care. But the Boot of Doom is awful. I'd rather it be called, I don't know, Clubfoot or something like that. Good things which came from the match. Finally, the Club looked powerful and they looked violent. They looked controlling. It's exactly what they should be. They should be the absolute monsters of the tag team division. And if anything, they will be the people who will be challenging people like the New Day, who will be coming up later on. JBL comparing Gallows and Anderson to when he and Ron Simmons were in the APA, which is brilliant. It's a great way of kind of giving them that benchmark. The APA were absolute monsters, and it would be fantastic if Anderson and Gallows actually go along that kind of route. Super kicks, right, what's the point? They were the best move ever. If someone hit you with a super kick, you were done. Shawn Michaels hit you with a super kick, unless you were The Undertaker, The Rock, or Stone Cold, or similar like that, you weren't kicking out of it, you were done. The Usos hand them out like candy at Halloween. It's ridiculous. The new DDT, as everyone keeps saying, it's the first time I've really actually paid attention to that and noticed. So yeah, getting really bored of that. Highlights of the match. It was a great way to start the show. It was full on. It was quick. It was quite a short match, but I think it filled nicely. If it got any longer, it might have got a little bit boring. So that was good. It was fast paced. It was violent. It was brutal. There were some really, really strong hits in there. It was booked exactly how it should have been, and that's Gallows and Anderson getting a big push and being made to look like the beasts they are and going over. So 7 out of 10 I'd give this one as an opening show. It's a great way to kick it off. Could have been a little longer, but I think they would have had to have been careful not to over drag it, and definitely the correct result with Anderson and Gallows taking the big win. Next up was arguably the weakest match on the card, and that is Kalisto versus Rusev for the United States Championships. No stipulations in this one. People were worried about Kalisto being put over on this one and carrying on and carrying on. Now, the thing which stood out to me is he came out with his Lucha Dragons t-shirt on and giving it the full Lucha. Kind of got a pop, not massive. Rusev, on the other hand, I will say, wasn't expecting the amount of cheering he was getting. I think people are starting to really appreciate the fact of how much of a good worker he is, or, you know, what he's able to do. Few good points in this one. Rusev swatting Kalisto midair while he was going through the corkscrew off the ropes. Every hit Rusev was doing looked like he was going to snap Kalisto in half. Kalisto got some good moves, he got some good hurricanranas in and some good DDTs. He actually won off the ropes where Rusev landed on the steel steps, which looked wicked. Again, I don't know why, if someone's took over this, but one thing which you'll see running through the whole of this review, WWE booked this one, in my opinion, spot on. Brilliant booking for Rusev, brilliant booking for Kalisto, who was going to get beaten, he was going to get beaten by a beast. I think he's going to move back into the tag division now. Again, it was booked right. The right person went over, so let's get into that. I give this match a 6 out of 10 for these reasons. Rusev was booked right to win it. The accolade at the end looked incredibly painful. If you're going to tag out a move, that should be the one. I think, like I said, Kalisto's going to go back into the tag matches now, which, to be honest, he's better in. And the tag division is really setting on fire, so the more teams they can get in there, the better. So they're not limited in the matches they're going to have. And of course, John Cena will be coming back on Memorial Day in America. So who the best person to have a feud with? Of course, Rusev. But, big but, to be honest, I think the crowd are going to go with Rusev. They're starting to really go with him. And of course, Lana looks stunning, as she always does. So as I said, 6 out of 10. It's a great follow-up to the opening match. And a great build for the next match, which was brilliant. Don't you dare be sour! That's right. The New Day, absolute brilliant intro. The crowd went nuts. 15,000 people or so were there. And to say the New Day are over is ridiculous. They are at the stage, I don't think any tag team has ever been as far over as they have. And of course, this match was the New Day versus the Vaudevillians, and it was Xavier Woods and Big E. But they are so, the crowd are so into the gimmick that I don't think whatever they do, people latch onto it. Bootio, stupid idea, went for it. On, was it Raw or SmackDown, and they did the time machine, awful. But the crowd loved it, well over. And it's brilliant to see that, especially in the tag team division. Now, the one thing I didn't expect was the Vaudevillains getting instantly booed as their music hits. Oh, not even the music, as the intro hits. Fantastic tag team, massive in NXT. They were proper booed. I'm talking really booed. Fantastic to know that there is a decent heel for people to go with, especially when Enzo and Cass go back together once Enzo comes back from his injury. They will be massive fan favourites. So this is leading, in my opinion, to the Usos being heel, and of course the Vaudevillains being heel. So tag team division all the way. Things that stood out to me: Xavier Woods' shoes. What the fudge? Big E's hot tag dropped in. Crowd went mental. Went on an absolute wrecking mission and destroyed the Vaudevillains with some fantastic big suplexes. The Vaudevillains did some great counter-attacks though, kept the thing alive. It never felt slow, even with Big E in there, obviously he's a big guy. Woods kicks out of the finisher and got an absolute great pop, and the New Day chant then kicks in. New Day rocks all the time. Vaudevillains look good now that the competition, the number one contender, has gone. I think they still will have that feud with Enzo and Cass. It would be stupid if they didn't, because they work really well together. New Day looked unstoppable, which is great. I think they need to keep those tag belts for a long time, especially with how over they are. Definitely need to keep them. And again, booked correctly by the WWE. What have they been drinking? Whatever it is, they need to drink more of it. Interference by Kofi, the third man counts, drops a pin, running knee from Xavier. 1, 2, 3, 7 out of 10 for another perfectly written match. Great timing and no botches at all. This is starting to become one of my favourite pay-per-views. Next up was The Miz, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens and Cesaro in a fatal four-way for the Intercontinental title. First thing, the video before it, the vignette before it, was brilliant. It made the IC title look as good as it used to be when Speedboat and Savage were going for it, when Triple H and The Rock were going for it. It felt like it was the big belt which you needed to get before you were good enough for that title. The intro out the way. This bit amazed me. I know he's popular, but not this popular. Biggest pop of the night by far goes to Kevin Owens. Is he the new Stone Cold Steve Austin? The bad guy that everybody really likes to hate. Or should I say hates to love? Because honestly, pop was massive. I thought nothing would be any, the other guys wouldn't even get close to that. Cesaro comes out. And equally, well, I wouldn't say it's equally, but a really big pop and a fantastic cutaway where Kevin Owens is applauding him and like, yeah, nice one, mate. When you rip your top off, clever, I like that. Again, another huge pop. Sami Zayn's music hits, the crowd go mental, they start singing along. Such a good intro, such a good wrestler, probably one of my favourite on the roster at the moment. And then the Miz's music hits, technically the only heel, even though Owens is supposed to be a heel, the only heel in the match, and he gets booed completely. That is such a good setup for a match. Congratulations WWE, you have wrote this perfectly. They don't mess about in this match. They do the whole four corner thing, which is really cool. It builds that tension. And literally, Sami Zayn runs over to the corner, haluva kicks into Owens, takes him out of the match for a good 10 minutes, nearly. He was gone completely. Crowd go mental. Sami Zayn looks pissed. Cesaro looks like he's been had one over on because he doesn't want people to think he's as bad. So he legs it over and uppercuts the Miz and takes the Miz clean out. Leaves Zayn and Cesaro in the middle of the ring. Crowd go insane. Off they go. Full on. Great pace to the match. Great spots. Building it back up. Waiting for the other guys to return. And return they did. Owens and Zayn's chemistry is insane. More about that shortly. There was so many good spots on this. I've literally got a list of about 20. One thing I do want to point out though, The Miz is a very underrated heel. I think he's one of the best in the company, and I think he should always be there or thereabouts, whether it's for the Intercontinental title and he's running the heel with that, with so many baby faces going for it, or even pushing kind of, the number one contender kind of spots, because he is that good of a heel. He can talk. And do you know what? He really kept his own in this match with technically 3 of the best technical wrestlers on the roster. So, I'm just going to talk spots on this because there was so many. Double suplex off the top rope with a Cesaro powerbomb. Amazing. Loads of great reversals, loads of fantastic blocking, some decent contact wrestling, some good hold wrestling. Everyone was working hard. It showed how important the belt is, which I think was the main goal of this. They just wanted to get the belt over to people to realise it's not the shit that it has been over the past few months, changing hands every 2-3 weeks or whatever it was. This belt means something, and these guys are the perfect people to do it. The fans were so hot behind this match, it was ridiculous. Owens and Zayn got the biggest pops. It was absolutely brilliant. Every time they were hitting moves, they were getting big cheers. Some other spots on there, the Miz tapped out, but it hadn't been seen, which is great. Gave him that extra heel persona. Owens did a massive splash on the Miz, took him completely out. Zayn coming back, massive Ole chants. Crowd were proper into this. Cesaro doing uppercut to uppercut to uppercut, corner to corner, went mental. Zayn did a reversal and the crowd popped massively. Really, 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 really good. If you are going to put on the best match of the event, these guys will do it. It was over the top good. I'm talking match of the year contender for WWE anyway. Each competitor was on point. Miz, who I thought was going to be the weakest, kept up. Yeah, he was out for a bit of it, but he went toe to toe with these guys. Some great little moves, great storytelling. There was so many close calls, amazing wrestling. The crowd was so invested. Awesome finish to the end of it as well, which made which built the Miz up even higher as a heel. So not only are they going to set up a future fight between them if they wanted to, what I can actually see happening is the Miz will hold the title probably up to SummerSlam, I would think. And I honestly believe Cesaro will take that title because the chemistry between Zayn and Owens, they are going to go full on that. That is going to be a future world title match there. So I think what the kind of plan they're going to do is Cesaro will take it off the Miz, either at Money in the Bank or SummerSlam. Owens will then take it back, and then they're going to bring in Sami Zayn to go for that again. All in the background while those twos go through. So, that is what I'd love to see the belt on Cesaro, just to see what he can do with it. But absolutely breathtaking match, has to say, probably 8.5 out of 10. They were given the right amount of time, the right booking, the right decision. WWE, carry on drinking the Kool-Aid because you are hitting it on the head with this pay-per-view. So then we've had some absolutely flat out matches, tornado tags, tag belts on the line, Intercontinental. It's time for the Asylum match, so it's Chris Jericho versus Dean Ambrose. Now, I wasn't overly looking forward to the match. I do like Ambrose. I think he's still got a long way to go in regards to his persona and how he actually plays that. I've always been a fan of Jericho. Yeah, he's getting on a bit now, but he is such a good worker. His chemistry in the ring is absolutely second to none. The weapons I thought they chose would look shoddy. Mop, bucket, plant. But it all came good in the end, and a fantastic way to build Ambrose to where he's going to be, to kind of be the next Mick Foley. Well, I'm not going to say as much as Mick Foley, but kind of like the next hardcore wrestler who will take anybody on, which is exactly what they're kind of missing. So I can see it kind of being Baron Corbin, Ambrose at some point, you know, Beast again, a bit like Brock Lesnar versus Ambrose, but a bit more on level. Some things I liked about this match: the feud has been brilliant, that's been going on. Fair enough, it's been over a jacket in a potted plant, but hey, whatever works. It got them over. Jericho was 50-50 on his intro. Ambrose got a huge pop again. And I love the fact Jericho, as a heel, you can hear him talking shit over the crowd, over everybody, giving it his all the time. Yes, he might be not as quick as he used to be, but he still is such a ring technician, and he's a fantastic storyteller, which is really, really good. Some of the great spots with the weapons, they look extremely painful, kendo stick especially, and the nunchucks. I actually flinched and kind of, when Ambrose started hitting Jericho with the nunchucks, which was really good. Yeah, as I said, Ambrose is kind of like the PG Mick Foley, not as intense, which is really good. They fought through the match, typical kind of normal match, you know, in a cage kind of thing, you know, smashing off the cage and things like that. Got down to one of the last weapons. It was the bloody bucket. Everyone was like, oh, great. Even the commentary were like, what's he going to do? Stick it on his head? No, took the lid off it, pulled out a little black bag, and it is full of thumbtacks. Crowd went nuts. Put them down. Commentary went mental. For the first time they'd actually done something pretty right, because Michael Cole was off a little bit, JBL was off a bit. I don't even think I heard Byron Saxton. It probably, as a whole, the match went on a little bit too long. The thumbtacks came out though, and it didn't go on long enough. They were doing some great moves, you know, nearly hitting attacks, nearly didn't. Ambrose did some fantastic work where he was taking hits off Jericho. Props to Jericho for hitting some good moves and bouncing back up. Hit the code breaker, tried for the pin, kicked out of it, went to hit the code breaker again and got a wicked reversal into the thumbtack. Place was literally rocking, which is amazing. 15,000 fans, you did yourself proud. And of course, Ambrose came out with the win. Probably not my favourite of the night, but I'm going to say it's probably about a 6.5, 6.5, 6.8 out of 10. I think if they put a bit more into the weapons there, something a bit more interesting, maybe like the sledgehammer or stuff like that, it would have been. But Ambrose got the pin, got the rub, got exactly what he should have got from that, and hopefully this is going to take him up to the next stage now of how crazy he can be, and he did look mental. Some more good booking from WWE. Okay, then next up we had a quick advert for the WWE Network, and it finally shows they're starting to push a bit more of a fresh looking network. Yeah, they've had the little, you know, Meal 3 or whatever it was called, and you know, of course, Total Diva highlights and things like that. But they've got some fantastic stuff coming up which looks amazing. So you've got Holy Foley, kind of like documentary, the Cruiserweight tournament, or whatever they call it, Cruiserweight Championship run or whatever. Camp WWE looks absolutely fucking hilarious. Props to Seth and the guys from Robot Chicken who've done that. It does look absolutely brilliant. The trailer they used was wicked. It was The Rock, and he's like, yes, Stone Cold, hey, what's up? And he goes, it doesn't matter what's up, now hit my music. Nothing happens, but he still walks off. So, you know, that looked really good, and I'm looking forward to the stuff they've got coming up on the network. Next up, we've got the Women's Championship between Charlotte and Natalya, and it's a submission match. I've got to say, first off, I still get absolute chills when that screeching guitar of Heart's music, back to when the Hitman was using it, obviously it's slightly different, but that gets me every time, love it. And even when Charlotte's music hits, it's such a buzz. They are really going well with the Women's Championship at the moment. I'm so glad they fucked off that diva bollocks. And they've got so much coming on, which I'll go into in a bit. But Natalia's starting to look like she's really finding her way back in after such a break, which is really good. Charlotte has such a presence with that title, almost China-like, if you get me. You know, back to the Attitude Era. A great athlete, a real good heel with the belt as well, with or without Flair. I'm so glad that they went from putting the Divas title onto the women's title with her, because I don't think anyone else would have had the same impact as she did first off. First off, I'd like to say that it is fantastic we're seeing a women's submission match. We've had an Iron Women's match, we've had a submission match. Hopefully we're going to start getting this and absolutely trounce the memories of Bra and Panties match, even though they were quite good to watch. No, they were stupid. This is real athletes doing exactly what they should, and they do not fail to impress any time. They are so good. So wonderful seeing that. Don't forget, we've still got Sasha, Becky, Bailey, the guys from NXT still come up. And of course, something I'm going to mention shortly. But overall, it was a great match. It was given plenty of time. It had some great impact shots. Of course, it had some great submission spots as well, using all different submissions. The commentators mentioned that Natalya had been speaking to a lot of mixed martial arts guys, which kind of gave it a bit more implementation of what she was doing, a bit more solidity, which was good. They both looked really, really solid. Charlotte, though, she's so good. Such a good heel. I can't tell whether the fans like her or hate her. I think they respect what she's doing, but they think, oh, we should hate her, you know, she is the heel. But she's so good, and eventually if she does turn face again, I think it would be really big. So, spots which stood out to me, there was a reverse Boston Crab, single leg, which was really good. Obviously every time the sharpshooter was nearly put in, every time that the figure 4 stroke figure 8 was put in. Charlotte's moonsault, which is incredible. She's so good at that. So, you know, I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. Obviously, Charlotte retained on this one, but Dana Brooks came out as the Nature Boy. Crowd went kind of mental. Even Natalya pulled out of the sharpshooter, stood there, told the ref to raise a hand, wig off, coat off, and it was Dana Brooks. She came down, did enough just to give enough time for Charlotte to get back on her feet, sorted it out, took Natalya out, figure 8, tapped out. Flair comes down, high fives. It was a plan all along. Nice little bit of writing. In my opinion, the right person kept the belt, but I can definitely see a feud between Dana and Natalya, which is even better because it means we get another heel in the women's division. Again, what is happening in WWE? You are right in them booking this correctly. Whatever you're smoking, crack right on. So on to the main event, and we've got AJ Styles versus Roman Reigns for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, Extreme Rules. I never thought I'd say this, but the build-up to Reigns has been borderline fantastic. It's been brutal, solid, menacing. I really do think if they turned him heel with the amount of heat he's already got, he will be massive, and I think it could, without giving too much of a comparison, it could be that Rock moment where he ditched the crowd for chanting "Die Rocky Die." It could give him that push. People could start to realise that he really does work hard and he's going for it, which is amazing. AJ got a huge pop, massive face at the moment, such a fan favourite. I would love to have seen him take the title here. I know he won't, but I'm so glad with the way this finished off. Of course, AJ came out to some massive, massive pop. Reigns came out to some seriously loud booing. No editing out there by WWE. It was freaking loud. Completely booed out. Some things which stood out to me. AJ is not just a good technical wrestler. He's a fantastic storyteller. He knows exactly how to come off a move. He sells brilliantly. And I could only dream of what it would have been like if he came 5-10 years earlier and stayed with WWE. Maybe we wouldn't have had that such a lull of repetitive crap. I'd love to have seen him going against Randy Orton, both, you know, when Randy was in his peak. The chants were amazing in this match. Everybody got so far, you know, really into it. They were shouting every time Roman did a really good move. They were actually chanting, "You still can't wrestle." Even though he came technically, he looked good. Moves he was doing were good. Nothing was botched. He looked like an absolute monster. So powerful. And as I said, that heel turn could be the making of it. It's good to see them taking the fight into the crowd as well, starting to get involved there. They went all the way around to where they did the pre-show chat. AJ tried to get a spot on there to put him through the table. Reigns countered, slammed him on this table, and it looked brutal. So yeah, they kind of kept it in that Extreme Rules without going too far over the top. I did start feeling for Roman. He was really solid. Obviously, he's supposed to be the babyface, but technically he was a heel playing in this. The crowd hated him. Every chant was "You suck," or they would boo him. But there's one thing, those two together, I don't know whether it's AJ making Roman step up his game or he's even carrying him, but the storytelling was absolutely brilliant. The wrestling was brilliant. There was some fantastic reversals, some fantastic kickouts. I know AJ's a veteran, he's been in the business for a long time, but he looks like he's just literally started. He's fresh, he's got the energy. The story, it's fantastic to see somebody of that caliber back in the WWE because it was getting stale. There was huge bumps which both guys were taking. It was clever. There was some good building of the spots. The spots itself were really good. He made sure Reigns had his moments as well. Some of the great spots on there, AJ going for, I think it looked like a flying forearm off the barricade onto the announce table. Roman countered, back body dropped over to the other announce table, went through, looked so good. AJ tearing up the floor mat, Roman going through the barricade, added it to the, obviously the extreme ones. Roman's razor's edge into a throw-up sitting powerbomb was stunning. It looked absolutely brutal. Every time AJ hit a good chair shot, the crowd started chanting "yes" in time, which was good. And as we all know, Roman was keeping the belt on this one, but the way he did it, AJ came off the ropes for the phenomenal forearm and he caught him with a spear in midair, and do you know what, even in slow motion it looked perfectly pulled off. Fantastic, big props to Roman there as well. Obviously Anderson and Gallows came down, kicked some ass, make it look like the club or the Bullet Club or whatever they're going to call it is there. Usos came down, so they were building the bloodline. I think there's going to be a 3-on-3 six-man tag there going to be happening at some point and actually pushing that feud forward, especially with what happens after the bell. So, hits him with that spear, bell rings, everyone disappears, Roman's up in the air, everybody's booing. All of a sudden, pretty bad camera, bad camera work from WWE because you only saw it at the very last minute and it would have been good to see him coming down. Seth Rollins returns, comes straight in the ring, pedigrees the shit out of Roman Reigns. The crowd starts chanting, "Thank you, Seth." He lifts the title up, massive pop, and I'm going to go into what I think is going to happen next. But I would easily give this match 8 out of 10, second best on the card. And the little twist at the end as well really, really did make it stand out. Both guys put on an absolutely fantastic match, and if it wasn't for the IC match, which was outstanding, it would have been the match of the night, not a problem. Now, what are they going to do with AJ? He's not going to get buried. I hope he's not going to get buried. He's too big, especially with Anderson and Gallows. What I think is going to happen is he'll do some backstage work with the club. Maybe even bring Finn Balor in, which would be absolutely incredible. Put the four together, see what happens there. Maybe a few tag matches just to keep it going. Then I honestly believe AJ is going to win Money in the Bank. Hopefully they'll put him in there. And it'll be AJ, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, Kevin Owens, The Miz. That would be absolutely fucking incredible. AJ wins. Got his title shot in the bag at the same event. We start to fill the build, and it's Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. Seth takes his title back because he never technically lost it in the first place. And then massive cash in, either I'm probably going to say Survivor Series or something a bit later on the year. I think it'll be too soon for him to go after Money in the Bank, so we're taking it over to SummerSlam. Maybe a successful title defense at SummerSlam by Reigns on maybe, somebody like Kevin Owens if he hasn't got the IC title by then. And then when it comes to Survivor Series, maybe they might actually start booking some longer feuds, which would be brilliant. But either way, Seth Rollins is in there now, and that's the guy who's going to be taking the title off Reigns. So overall, I am giving this pay-per-view easily a 7.5, maybe even an 8 out of 10. It flowed brilliantly, the matches were perfect lengths, everybody did fantastically, the right people won to progress and build storylines, and there is just so much more to come. So that was my review of Extreme Rules 2016. I hope you've liked this new kind of segment on Kapow, Beyond the Bell, and I'm hyped for watching the next event. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what you thought of Extreme Rules, what you think WWE's plans are for the future. Don't forget Triple H has actually signed a workers deal, a wrestler's deal as well. So he's still in there. Is he going to come back with Seth? Who knows? We've got the return of John Cena as well, the return of Enzo and Cass. Together, WWE is starting to look good. All we need now is CM Punk to come back and life would be good. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, give it a share, let me know your thoughts. I've been Matt, this is Beyond the Bell. Catch you later.